Good evening. I'm Leonie Noble, Chair of the Rural, Remote and Regional Women's Network Reference Group. Welcome to our 2014 RRR Satellite Sundowner. Tonight, people throughout Western Australia have come together to celebrate and connect rural, remote and regional women. This initiative is funded by the Department of Regional Development. Your RRR reference group consists of up to 12 women from many walks of life. They work to bring together women from rural, remote and regional WA to recognise, promote and support the contribution women make to their communities. We share their stories of the RRR women through our network news magazine, website, e-news and social media. The following presentation is a sample of women from across Western Australia answering life's big questions. Thank you to all of you who have made your own video postcard, and you can view these video postcards and more at the RRR Network website. Tonight, let's celebrate rural, remote and regional women. Thank you.
I think love is honest and humble.
Love is someone you find for your soulmate.
Love is going fishing with my family on a calm day.
Love is feeling that I have for my family, my kids, for my parents.
Love is passion and dedication.
Love feels like
chocolate and wine.
feels like gold.
It feels like catching a really big fish. It makes me feel awesome.
Love is whatever you want it to be and whatever you make it.
Love is that giddy feeling you get in your stomach when you have butterflies.
And funny and beautiful.
I love my family, but I also love chocolate.
Love feels like a feather bed with a feather doona on a cold day.
Love is my family, my children and my grandchildren.
When you ask that question, the first thing that comes to mind is the Shakespeare sonnet, love is not love that alters when an alteration finds and bends with the remover to remove. It is an ever fixed mask that looks on tempest and is not shaken. That's what love is.
And love is a lot of things, but I think of all, love is the most beautiful feeling that you could probably have and beautiful emotion you probably experienced.
When I feel sad, I love to play my banjo. I love to play. I go and sit in my sunroom and I pick up my banjo and it takes me into another world. It makes me relaxed, it makes me feel happy, it just makes me feel good.
When I feel sad, I like time alone. I go for walks. I maybe talk to people that are closer to me, like family, friends, people that I know will be there for me and understand why I'm sad.
When I feel sad, I write in my journal.
When I am sad, I tend to cry.
There are times when I've felt powerless, particularly during seeding when we don't have any rain.
I think becoming a parent definitely leaves you with a very large sense of being powerless. Particularly for me, I have felt it being the mother of a child with a physical disability. He has cerebral palsy, and watching him face his challenges is very confronting.
I felt powerless quite recently actually. I just finished my Year 12 exams, but during that time there was so much going on and I felt like I had no control over everything that was happening.
The best way I found to overcome that feeling was to catch up with friends and just have a barbecue out in the paddock or something like that.
I felt powerless when people don't do the right thing, whether it be for any reason, and you can see that they're not doing the right thing, but you can't say anything. That makes me feel powerless.
Okay, the most annoying thing about me is I'm very loud. I have a very loud personality.
very bubbly. Sometimes that gets me into a lot of trouble, especially in libraries and quiet places. I'm very happy, sort of bubbly.
I think possibly people might say being a Miss Finicky Fusspot. In other words, if something's not right, I'm not one to just ignore it and leave it. I've got to try and make it right.
The most annoying thing about me is I like to elaborate. So that's why, yeah, I guess my husband doesn't like it when I talk too much. It's because I'm elaborating and I like to be thorough.
I think the most annoying thing about me is that my car is always a mess. It's always dirty. We call it the mobile wheelie bin because it is a mobile wheelie bin. It's disgusting.
When I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, a nurse. That's all.
When I grew up, what did I want to be when I grew up? You know, as a kid, I was always really good at cleaning, and my dad said one day, Liz, you are a really good cleaner. The way I clean is I just pile things up. I don't actually clean as such. I'll just pile that book and that will be clean, or I'll just make way on the table and push it all to one side and that's clean. So I think that real positive encouragement from my dad, that was the answer for me. I wanted to be a cleaner.
When I grew up, I would like to be a nurse.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up.
When I grow up, I'd like to be a vet.
I wanted to be an ologist.
An ologist?
Because I couldn't decide if I wanted to be a marine biologist or a zoologist or a psychologist. So when my parents asked me what I wanted to be, I told them I wanted to be an ologist. Then they told me that ologist meant the study of. So I had to change my thinking a bit. I still haven't decided.
When I was little, I wanted to be like my mum and my dad, but I couldn't be like him. My mum.
So when I was small, I wanted to be like Harry Butler. I wanted to be roaming around the bush, exploring and looking for animals. That was it.
I'm a pretty clean person, but I wouldn't say that, well, things have panned out differently, thank God. But yeah, cleaner it was for a very long time.
So if I was 16, I would probably, the advice I would give to young people is just take the opportunity.
What advice would I give to my 16-year-old self is probably an impossible question for me to answer because I cannot remember my 16-year-old self.
I would give my 16-year-old self the advice to believe in yourself.
The advice I would give myself at 16, over again, I would have told myself not to have children so early. But I am who I am today because of the choices I made when I was 16. Would I have listened? Who knows? I was 16.
My 16-year-old self, somehow or another, conned my husband of nearly 43 years into giving me a driving lesson when I wasn't even old enough to have a learner's permit. So maybe I would say to that 16-year-old, good on you, girl.
My number one tip for staying mentally healthy would definitely be taking the time out to do things that I like doing. Lots of things can be stressful, but if I don't take the time to do things that I really like, then I'm not going to have that balance.
My number one tip for staying mentally healthy is to be active, is to get outside and go for a walk or a run or do some exercise.
I think my number one tip for staying mentally healthy would be just to do something. Find one thing and get that done, which would lead you to the next thing. So just get on with it.
My number one tip for staying mentally healthy would be chocolate cake, followed by exercise, followed by more chocolate cake.
The worst gift I've ever received was a bottle of perfume from an ex-boyfriend, and that doesn't sound particularly bad, but the bottle of perfume was the same perfume his mother wore all the time. wasn't particularly excited about that.
I don't think I've ever had a worse present. I'm a very positive person.
The worst present I was given was no present. I just took it as a joke or whatever. But they remembered next time.
And I've had one that was bath gel, and it brought me out in hives.
The worst present I've ever had was to get nothing. Yeah.
And someone else gave me a novel that was a thriller and scared the bejesus out of me, so I only got halfway through it.
I think it was from my sister, which is really strange because my sister really knows me well. And it was like one of those hand things you put on your desk and you hang your handbag on. So the weight is in your desk and you have a loop that hangs your handbag. And if anyone knows me, I just don't really just chuck my handbag anywhere. But she gave me this nice little petite thing that you hang your handbag, and it's all about not getting germs on your handbag, which I don't really care about. I think that was probably the worst present I've had. And I re-gifted it and gave it to someone else. I hope the person that got it didn't Nah, they'll be right. They won't watch this.
I think a present, whether it's bad or, you know, if it's given in the best intentions, it doesn't matter, because someone's you know, giving it to you from their heart. It's not about the, you know, it's not about the actual present. It's the intention behind it.
If there is one thing I could tell the world, it would be just to be nice and kind to one another and just smile. It doesn't cost a thing.
Oh. If there's one thing I could tell the world, it would be to be tolerant and have a little bit of understanding for the people next to you.
If there was one thing I could tell the world, is to live for now. Cherish every moment. With your family, with the people that you love. Love everybody around you. It is so important, and tell them that you love them.